This is One on One. Dan Gurskis is the Dean of the College of the Arts at Montclair State University. Good to see you, Dean.
Good to see you.
We should let everyone know we're coming to folks from the Dumont Television Studio right here at Montclair State University. Good things are happening here, and this studio by itself is a big piece of the media and communication equation, which falls under the communication program, the School of the Arts here, correct?
That's correct. The College of the Arts has two schools, two departments. Our newest school is the School of Communication and Media, and as part of our ramp up to that, we've installed two high-definition studios here, actually upgrades of existing analog studios, and we're quite pleased with the result.
Actually, right in the studio, our colleagues Mike Snyder, every night, NJ Today comes out of here, and Susan Cole, the president, had been talking for a long time about wanting to, this is my alma mater, and those of us who come out of here with a journalism, media background, we heard a lot of good things. A lot of things are going to be happening, but that requires a lot of capital investment. It requires a huge commitment, Dan, to do that. What is it that Dr. Cole and others saw and see that caused you to say, this is what we, as a university, in these tight economic times, must be into?
Well, it's clear that media is a focus for students now. It's a very popular program, depending on the area. And more to the point, New Jersey is really underserved when we think about the situation with the New York market, with the Philadelphia market. And so to actually create a place where news can be gathered, can be disseminated on the professional side, as well as on the academic side, it makes sense.
But there's more to it than that. You had an interesting quote in an article. That's what happens when you get quoted. People ask you what exactly does it mean. You have said that I'm interested in the ways in which the arts and the media articulate in higher education, not only with the other, but also with the entire curriculum and ultimately the world at large. Elaborate.
Well, I think there's sort of a mistake that the universities exist in ivory tower environments. They clearly don't. But what I'm interested in as a dean, what I'm interested in for the college, is to make connections with the world, not to just insulate ourselves with our own academic interests, but really think about what the world needs from us right now, what it expects from young people entering the labor force. So that's the articulation that I've been talking about.
Give me an example of that, Dan. Break that down, because
sure.
It sounds very exciting, but for some folks, they say, okay, explain exactly what that could mean on the ground level.
Sure. Well, let's talk about journalism, since we're
sure.
In a good spot for that. Obviously, this is a bad time for print. Newspapers are going out of business. The ones that are still in business have fewer and fewer reporters. But interestingly, it's actually a pretty good time for journalism generally, because now we're shifting the paradigm to more online delivery. And for every new online service that comes up, there are dozens and sometimes hundreds of opportunities. So to prepare students to enter into that world, as opposed to the world of newsrooms where they were just putting out a daily every day, is the sort of thing that I'm talking about. And as you know, it's changing at a breakneck speed. So we want to have a curriculum here that is agile, that's responsive, that takes into consideration what's happening in the world right now.
It's interesting because I've taught as an adjunct here, and you come in and you meet.
And you get very high marks, too.
Yeah, yes, and a lot of pay. That was a joke. It's not, and by the way, in the great faculty here at Montclair State, the adjunct and the full-time faculty, very committed, and many of them are practitioners.
They are.
Not by accident.
Not by accident.
Not by accident. And then the important part about that is what I've been struck by is the students. We have students here at Montclair State that seem to understand. They'll say, well, I want to go into television. And your wife, tell everyone, because she is in television news at CBS
yes,
too.
Jennifer McLogan, she covers Long Island for Channel 2.
It seems to me that many of the students here at Montclair State are getting the idea that you don't come in and say, I want to go into television. I want to go into print. There is no such thing anymore where you can come in and say, that's what I want to do. And Montclair State seems to be positioned very well to train, I don't want to use the word train, get young people prepared to be engaged in a whole range of communication and information platforms. Is that too simplistic a way to say it?
I think that's a very accurate way to say it. You know, the challenge for us in higher education is that we're trying to prepare students for a world that doesn't exist. We're trying to prepare them to be able to work 10, 15, 20, 25 years out from now. Who knows how many different jobs they'll have during that period. So if we're focused only on that first job, on that first year, then we're really preparing them for a life of frustration. So to provide them with the intellectual tools that will allow them to learn on their own, to unlearn the old ways and learn the new ways is something that is a challenge for us, but one that we embrace, and it's important.
And one of the keys to that, Dan, is bringing in good people. Mel Brown is coming in with an extensive background in media communication, headed up MSNBC.com.
Correct. He was also there for the birth of Court TV.
Big deal.
Yes.
Huge deal. Also, the other thing that was interesting is you guys have an initiative with our colleague John Mooney at Spotlight, NJ Spotlight, but also is it called Media Commons?
News Commons.
News Commons.
Right. Which is part of the larger Center for Cooperative Media.
Yeah, with Deb Gallant.
Correct.
That is looking at online media, community-based media, which no one has really done in a systematic, organized way. Why is that so important?
Well, for the reason that I said before, which is that people in New Jersey get their news primarily from New York or from Philadelphia. Some know more about what happens in City Hall with Mayor Bloomberg than what happens in the State House here. And
we suffer for that.
Absolutely. So we at the university are very sensitive to that, and we feel that as a public institution, we need to serve the public, and one way is to help to create this ecosystem which will allow us to disseminate and also to gather news and send it out to the various local sites, hyper-local sites.
Before I get you out of here, Dan's also agreed to do another conversation with us on one-on-one to talk about more about the art side of things, because you may not know, in 1989 he won an Emmy for
James Stewart's Wonderful Life.
We're going to talk about your screenwriting and all that piece of the equation, but real quick before I let you out of here, because your program, the School of the College of the Arts, also deals with the John J. Calley School of Music.
It does.
Real quick on that, it's important.
Well, the Calley School was the first school in the college, and it is really a center for some great musical activity. We have some extraordinary programs. One of our choirs toured Europe, was in Vienna. Our larger university singers are going to be performing with the New Jersey Symphony this year at 4 locations. Get your tickets now.
you have to plug, right?
And we still have not lost sight of our core mission in that area, which is to create music educators. And we have a very successful music education program, a very successful music therapy program. So it's not just the arts, but it's looking for an application for those arts and engaging with the community. In
the second conversation with Dan on one-on-one, we'll talk about the Department of Theater and Dance, and also the Department of Art and Design, and also your background in film and theater and the screenwriting and a whole range of work that you've done coming here to Montclair State. Dan, I want to thank you for joining us on One-on-One.
Well,
not be the last time.
Thanks for inviting me.
You got it. This is One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato, coming to you from the Dumont Television Studio right here at Montclair State University, where great things are happening. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and the Montclair Film Festival. 13 for WNET and NJTV. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Bloomfield College, offering small classes and big opportunities since 1868, Barnabas Health, Wells Fargo, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship, and by PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com, and the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.